just trying to survive and learn to love along the way by Foreplay on AO3. Episode 56, Chapter 56, of Sadness and a Regression. Well, the day has finally arrived. Shoto is going to his second ever funeral. The first had been for Touya. But look how that turned out. Unfortunately, he doesn't think the same thing would happen with his classmate. Not that he would want him to turn into a homicidal maniac. The mood is somber as everyone climbs aboard the bus, wearing suits that Yaoyorozu had crafted with her quirk. Aizawa-sensei got them special permission to leave the school because of the occasion. Shoto is glad he did. He feels awful for what his brother did, even if it has nothing to do with it. Since they're leaving the school grounds, UA is sending extra pro heroes with them as a precaution, in case any villains try something. His dad will be there too, but not for protection. He said something about moral support and atoning for his son's sins. Shoto gets where he's coming from. It's not pleasant when they finally arrive. He doesn't think that many of them were close to Sato, but they were all his classmates. Some of them were even there when he was killed. Shoto can't imagine what was that like. They walk through the cemetery as a group. Aizawa-sensei was adamant that they don't get separated, so they all stand together on one side of the grave. Shoto doesn't really want to listen to what the priest has to say, so he observes his classmates instead. Most of them are somber, but respectful. He guesses that they plan to do their mourning in quiet once they get back into the dorms. Shoto feels the same way. Grieving has always been easier alone. Izuku is crying silently beside him, holding Hitoshi's hand as he stands on the other side, offering his silent support. They standing near the middle of the group surrounding on all sides by classmates and heroes. Shoto subtly checks on his classmates behind them. Standing in the far back of the group, the furthest away from the proceedings they can get, is the group from the remedial classes. They're obviously taking this the hardest, being the ones who witnessed it all. Shoto doesn't want to interrupt on their grieving, so he turns away from the group, focusing back on the funeral. Before them, as the priest is finishing up. They all stand there silently, as Sato's parents speak, and before too long, the funeral is over. They're all invited inside for mingling and refreshments, but Shoto has the feeling that no one of his class wants to stick around. Aizawa-sensei starts herding them back towards the bus, and Shoto sticks close to Izuku, who has a preference for staying near his dad. That's the only reason Shoto sees them approaching. His dad walks right up to Aizawa-sensei and starts speaking in a hushed whisper. To say that his teacher looks pissed is an understatement. He sneaks closer and hears the tail end of what his dad is saying. Only way he'll talk. You know as well as I do that unscheduled outings are forbidden. I can't let you take one of my students. You need to make an exception for this Eraserhead. He'll be perfectly safe. His dad looks furious now, a look he hasn't seen since before the incident with his mom. He longs to step away, but he needs to hear what this is about. Other students have hero parents. I don't see them begging to take their children away. Other heroes aren't number 2. His dad is yelling, drawing the attention of his classmates. I get it, Endeavor, but I'm not comfortable with you taking my student to go speak with a villain. Just so you could feel better about yourself. Shoto steps a little closer, and the hero finally notices him. Shoto, let's go. I need your help with something. Normally he would happily help out his dad, but the look on Aizawa-sensei's face makes him hesitate. Go where, Dad? He has a feeling he knows where this is going, and he doesn't like it. To talk to Touya. He said the only one he'll talk to is you. I don't know, Dad. I don't think I'm up for it. He hasn't seen his dad look so disappointed in years. Come on, son. Your brother probably has a lot of information of the League of Villains. If we could get that out of him, who knows how many people we can save. You'll be a real hero. Hey, Endeavor, that's going to... Shoto cuts off his teacher. Fine, I'll do it. Now Aizawa-sensei looks disappointed, and Shoto doesn't know whose disappointed look is worse. Kid, you really don't have to. It's okay, Aizawa-sensei. I'll meet you guys back at the dorms. Shouta turns away before he could see the look on his teacher's face, and follows his dad to the private car. The ride to the prison is awkward, to say the least. Shouta just can't get his father's angry look out of his head. It's bringing back some not-so-pleasant memories. They don't speak, and they remain silent until they're sitting in an interrogation room, across the table from his brother. He's cuffed, hands rest on the table, and he looks far too comfortable for the situation. So Shouta, how are Fuyumi and Natsu? Oh great, starting with small talk. They're fine. Touya makes a face at his chipped answer. In school, you have friends? I do, yeah, like the one you killed. His brother has the audacity to look remorseful. Listen, Sho, I didn't have a choice. Sho. He'd called him that back when they were kids. You need to explain yourself, Touya. The way his dad says his name, so full of venom, has Shouta unconsciously flinching away. Touya narrows his eyes, but doesn't say anything. He flat out ignores their father. Fine then. Shouta, ask him to clarify. He hesitates before answering. I don't think I want to. Touya used to be so kind to him. Shouta doesn't think he could accept any answer that changed his brother like this. Shouta! His father looks pissed, all of his anger directed towards Shouta. He gets out of his chair and backs away a little. This reminds him too much of the past. Hey! They both turn towards Touya, who is finally looking at their father. What are you gonna do? Beat him again? Touya stands up, taking a step towards Endeavor. Shouta backs up some more as Endeavor starts yelling at Touya again. He just wants out of there. He can't take it anymore. How can you kill one of my classmates, then turn around and act so protective over me? I just watched him get buried because of you. Shouta barely registers the tears sliding down his face. What the fuck, Endeavor? You dragged him here after a funeral? I had no other choice. It was hard enough to get him away from Eraserhead as it is. Maybe because he actually cares about how Sho feels. Endeavor looks about 2 seconds away from strangling Touya. It doesn't matter that he's right. Why does he refuse to see how awful this is for Shouta? Tell me why you had no choice. Touya goes right to ignoring Endeavor, so he turns to Shouta instead. Shouta, get him to talk. It's a demand, not a request. No. Shouta can feel himself trembling, and Endeavor looks even more pissed off as he stalks forward. He grabs Shoto's arms and roughly yanks him back into the direction of the chair. The warm, tight grip on his arm feels awfully familiar, and Shouta cries harder, trying to pry his arm away. Stop! Let go! He knows that he's panicking, but he can't stop himself. No, you're gonna sit there and get answers for me. Please, you're hurting me. Shoto's pleas fall on deaf ears, and he's assaulted by memories. Memories of the training floor. He's seen it often enough, the amount of times he'd been knocked down by Endeavor. He forces himself to his feet again to continue the training that his father put him through. Endeavor moves forward again, trying to get him to use the fire half of his quirk, and rough shaking pulls him out of the memory, and he blinks tears away to see Endeavor's furious face as the man shakes him. Let go of my brother! Endeavor loosens his grip, being accosted again with enough shock for him. Shouta yanks his arms away and backs up, breathing fast. He moves into the corner as quickly as he can. Endeavor starts forward, worried of all things on his face. Looks like he finally realized how Shouta feels right now. Touya blocks his process. Back to Shouta as he stands between them. He can't seem to catch his breath. Everything about this is too familiar. He's seen Toya's back like this far too many times. His memory from when he was that young and mostly flashes. But anything traumatic enough stuck. He sure as hell remembers them now. It's all too much. Shouta presses a hand to his chest in a useless attempt to regain control of his breathing. It doesn't help. The situation is spiraling out of control. He really shouldn't have come. Shoto can't breathe. Okay, well, that went horribly horrible. Oh god, okay. So I want to talk about that. Obviously, Endeavor went back to his old ways. A lot of the times, bringing up the past can send someone back to their old way, right? He's clearly super mad, right? Endeavor's clearly reverting back to his old ways, right? Hopefully he changes soon. Again. And Shoto, obviously, seeing this, he reverts back to the same, right? Flinches, backs away. He's having a whole episode, and I'm so, like, heartbroken for Shoto, because, like, imagine, like, this is extra traumatizing for the simple fact that, at least with Canon Shoto, like, something like this would be expected. It's sad to think about that, like, if Endeavor never, became nice, and he never had his redemption arc, like, yeah, it's just expected. A typical Tuesday, per se. Like, you would mentally be somewhat prepared. This has clearly been years after that, like, change, right? Of viewing his father in a different light. This broke their trust once yet. Again, it's broken. It's broken. There's probably going to be, even after this chapter goes on, if, Endeavor goes back to being the way he is, even if it takes a couple chapters or whatever. Even after that, it's going to be hard. It's going to be horrible. It's going to be hard because it's going to be hard for Shoto to trust Endeavor again. It's going to be hard to build up that trust. Those 10 years of trust, right? I'm just estimating that it would be at least 10, right? 10 years of trust. Demolished. Gone, right? And even if another 10 years passes, Shoto is always going to have in the back of their mind, is it going to revert back again? Is it going to happen again? When is he going to snap? And they're going to forever have that thought in their mind. He has single-handedly broke the trust that was very carefully cultivated. And the more you break trust, the less stronger it comes back. The more you crumble up a paper, the less smooth it's gonna be. And at one point you're gonna crumble it so much that it's gonna break. And no amount of, tape is gonna fix that, So this is a very hard chapter. As always, my raindrops, make sure to eat, sleep, drink water, take your meds. Have a wonderful day. Subscribe if you're new. I forgot my channel outro. Sorry. Description. There's my socials and Discord down there. As always, my raindrops, make sure. No. Thank you for watching.